Jim commemoration special here in the tribute to the late President, 39th President Jimmy Carter. Today we have a very special guest with us, joining Rev. Allows myself to talk about the former president, some of the things that he did that were in the black community that were not talked about. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Jerry Fisher. We call him Fish, who life simulated some of the things that President Carter did in terms of the peanut farm factory. His family had one in terms of the submarine which he was on. So Jerry, welcome to the program. How you doing, sir?
I'm just fine. Just happy to speak to the studio audience.
Well, Jerry, we're happy to have you because as I've talked to you, known you for years, your history over the time, that one of the things that Jimmy Carter, President Carter was very famous for was his peanut farm that he came from in Georgia. Let's start off right now how your life and your family had a peanut farm. Also, tell us about that.
Well, I certainly did. My grandfather was a peanut farmer, and we were in Newnan, Georgia, which is a close little town to Plains, Georgia. So my grandfather owned land there, and my cousin came up there, and myself, back in the day, I had never been to Plains, Georgia, but we were peanut farmers in Newnan, Georgia.
Okay, so right now, Jerry, in the peanut farmer right now in that area, I think that whole area was pretty much a black area, and Jimmy Carter and being in that area. How did that work out?
Well, it was surprising. It was the South. I mean, you hear all manner of things about the South and black people, and well, it wasn't slavery, but it's hard working fields, and you were kind of looked down upon a little, I guess. But it was status quo. I would think it was things that happened all the time. It was accepted, as they showed in some of the people in Plains when the president had passed, his relationship with the people in Plains. So it was close family life, nothing real, nothing outwardly. It wasn't clan people running around and sheets or anything like that. It wasn't that environment.
But everybody pretty much, the black and the white got along with each other. I mean, which was the idea. They had a mutual business. Everybody knew they had to have workers in the farms, in the peanut industry. Tell us how the peanut industry works. How did that work?
Well, I guess some people may not know peanuts are grown in the ground. They're a root vegetable,
okay.
A root product. And there's bushes that grow on top of the ground, and at some point when they're ready to be harvested, you pull them up and take the dirt off of them. And go on,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now, so during that time period, you had some similarity to the late Jimmy Carter, but we're going to kind of fast forward a little bit, okay, to you having a young man where you were in the Navy. Okay, now how did you come about joining the Navy and doing what you actually did on the submarines?
Well, I left Georgia in the 50s. Matter of fact, I came to St. Louis in 55. My cousin's mom and dad were in the service, and we grew up together. He's 4 years older than me, and we ran around on the peanut farm doing whatever went on there, and they went off to the military, and at some point, my uncle had tuberculosis, which was the predominant disease of the times. And we came to St. Louis. We came to St. Louis in '55, and went into the hospital here, to the tuberculosis hospital here in St. Louis, and that brought me and my cousin and those same people together, and I've been here in St. Louis very much since.
Okay, so how did you get to the Navy?
Say again?
What came about when you decided to join the Navy and not the Army?
Well, that didn't happen until the draft came. I'd been in St. Louis from '55, and when I got around to, I went to Beaumont High School here in St. Louis. Okay. And graduated. I was a three-letter person. I was a football player, and a basketball player, and put the shot. Anyway, time came for me to go to college. I started at Washington University here in St. Louis as an electrical engineer. So I had an opportunity in Washington U. Because of that, when the draft came, I had a choice to go to nuclear power school. So I did. I left Washington University and went to California, right across the Golden Gate Bridge there, right close to Sacramento, to a place where I attended nuclear power school. I was first black nuclear power plant operator. One of the first, I said. We had a class of 1,000, and I was graduated 300 out of 1,000, and I was one of 300.
Okay, so you got so right now, what was your first submarine you got assigned to?
My first submarine. Well, we got a ways to go from there. We ended up. I was aboard I rode the Pulaski, the Casimir Pulaski, which was a fleet ballistic missile submarine, which means we carried enough nuclear weapons to kill everybody in China. We operated in a place in the Pacific Ocean, and a place the size of the city of St. Louis, 66 square miles. You know, the city of St. Louis, the portion is shaped like the human eye, is 66 square miles.
Right.
And what we used to do then was, if you were inside that 66 square miles, nobody wanted to know specifically where you were. But if you were in that range, you could hit every target. And they have a documentary called 41 for Freedom that you might look up if you're interested in the nuclear power program.
Okay. So right now, with Jimmy Carter was assigned by what president to be in charge of the nuclear program? Tell us about that.
Well, Jimmy, which was from Plains, of course, and he was trained by the Naval Academy. He got his training in nuclear power from the Naval Academy, and in spite of it being a neighbor that close to where I was born, I had never met Jimmy. One day at sea, on the submarine that I was on, the Pulaski, he, as a routine, would come to submarines on some regular basis and inspect them and check and make sure of their readiness. So that that was when I met Jimmy Carter. I met him on that submarine. I was in the location where he operated from, and my job was to open the throttle and to control how fast you went. And he came to that location, and at that time, I guess it was 24. I think he was 24 years older than me. So that's where I met Jimmy on that.
So right now, the nuclear sub program, right now, it's a submarine system right now that's taking the whole world. What the United States has submarines all over the world, but in those days, it was something that was brand new.
That's exactly right. The initial nuclear submarine was the Nautilus 571. It was a fast attack submarine, and they just retired the Nautilus this past year. They had a big ceremony for the Nautilus being retired. It was the first. Matter of fact, I trained on the Nautilus power plant when I got out of submarine school. They require you to go to Idaho Falls, Idaho, and train on a nuclear power plant. I can imagine why you put a nuclear power plant in the middle of the country in Idaho. But anyway, I went there to go to prototype, what they call prototype, and you have to spend several months there working on a power plant in the middle of the desert until you learn how to operate the power plant. So I qualified on the S-1W power plant, which was on the Nautilus, the first atomic submarine.
Okay, now, Jerry, let me ask you a question. Okay, if you have a career that's somewhat similar, parallel with Jimmy Carter, so I'm quite sure that you kind of followed his career closer than most people. So what are some things you took away that President Carter did that you felt that would change it, to you, okay, as you watched him grow up, as you grew up somewhere similarly close to him, having met him, come up from the same part of the country. What are your takeaways from some greatness thing that Jimmy Carter actually did?
Well, I thought it was excellent. Jimmy, they showed him pretty well in all these various tributes to Jimmy. He's always been, as it's been shown, to be a church-going man, and he wasn't a racist person ever. And he didn't get elected to be president and all the things that went with that. He was, for years, has been the oldest living president. It was, just as I said, a surprise to me to meet him on a submarine. After time, yeah, it was quite a thing. And I had no idea he would be visiting, and did get a chance to meet him. That was very, very nice.
And I guess at the same time, Jerry, the fact that he was on your submarine, he was the first over the entire submarine program. That was an honor for you. It was an honor that you came in. Your house was in order when you came to spec.
Oh yeah, I had successfully graduated from and met all the necessary requirements. So they sent me to I had to go to submarine school, of course, to learn how to do submarine escapes, and they also had the tower, which meant if you were sunken in an area where it was less than 1,000 feet down, you had to be able to make an escape to the surface. So you had to go to the tower in order to learn how to do a buoyant, they call that a buoyant ascent, where they put a hood over your head and you breathe in air, and well, it's kind of strange. To give you an idea, a gallon of water, it's just like a gallon of milk, weighs about 8 pounds. the water, and the deeper you go, the more gallons are stacked on top of your head. Now, if you're down at 800 feet, that's 800 gallons of milk stacked up on top of your head. So you see how the pressure goes up? Well, now you couldn't, below a certain depth, you can't escape from a submarine in that fashion. But as long as you were in a place where you could get out of a disabled submarine, you could get in the chamber. It would match the pressure in the chamber with that of the outside pressure. And then you could open the outside hatch and you could float to the surface and try to get all the air out of your lungs, because it would cause your lungs to burst if you didn't get your air out. So you all the way up said ho ho ho, ho ho ho. So that's one of the reasons you went to submarine school, to learn to do a buoyant ascent. So that's one of the things to learn in submarine school is deeper buoyant ascent.
Okay, now, Jerry, one of the things, okay, that with Jimmy Carter being the person that was over all those programs, and where we find ourselves now, we probably have one of the best submarine fleets in the whole world. Would you agree?
Why, yes. Well, actually, he had Hyman Rickover was the father of submarines. Was Hyman Rickover, and he was the one who designed submarines. Some of the older people would remember Sea Hunt from back in the day in the 50s.
Right. I remember Sea Hunt. I remember those days, yeah.
Exactly. Well, Lloyd Bridges used to be diving under the ocean, and they did all recover things in the ocean and that sort of thing. But anyway, submarines are a little, that we go a lot deeper in the water, but it's a lot of the same thing. It was fascinating because I kind of, when I came up, got a chance to see some of those Sea Hunt presentations and what submarines did and that sort of thing, which kind of piqued my interest and kind of put me to mind of traveling under the sea.
Wow. So let me ask this question, okay? Haven't had that experience, and as where we are now, and I know you watched most of the presentations. I mean, celebrating President Carter's life. What things stood out to you the most, okay, in the celebration that they were about, what took place, to President Biden's beautiful eulogy to his sons and and grandsons, eulogizing him. What part stood out to you the most about Jimmy Carter? In his life.
Well, I happen to be a Christian and believing man, just as Jimmy was. I guess it comes with your roots in the South and all that. That I was a Christian from my birth. And I read the Bible and was aware of what the Bible said and what the Lord called upon us to do in the Bible. Jimmy was a prime specimen of the Lord. Was he's very pleased with Jimmy, and he called Jimmy home after 100 years. So if I could be just as pleasing, it would be a wonderful thing for me.
Yeah, that says a lot right there. Okay, that you taught Sunday school, even all that time, and that's shows you how you always work with the younger generation.
Yeah, but I never thought the fact that I'd be here at 76 now. So,
Jerry, I just turned 76 today. Today is my birthday, matter of fact. Right, Ray?
I know.
Hey!
Happy birthday.
Hey! Well, we got Reverend Lyles on the line, who was also Reverend. What are your thoughts, okay, about Jimmy Carter thoughts that you may have about the former president? Other than the fact that he's a Christian man.
All I can say, I'm happy for the man, and I want to be no past that age.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. All three of us today. Well, today I joined because my wife told me when I joined the 76ers Club, which Jerry already been 76, now so we've been 76. And it's a good feeling to be in that club, by the way, gentlemen.
Only 24 to go there, Ira.
Right, yeah, yeah. Well, you know something, Scott? I'm closer to the top than I am to the bottom, so that's a good way to look up and look
That's
at
a
this,
fact.
And I think that the three of us, one thing we can say that he was married to his beautiful wife 77 years.
Amen.
And that by itself says a lot. Because someone to be married to 77 years, I'm quite sure that's why there's some people live married longer than that. Okay, that's a long time.
Amen.
And I know the last. Go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah, that is true. I had the misfortune of having two dead wives, and have one at the National Cemetery who awaits my return.
Mm. Well, Jerry, to live 76 years, okay. I'm fortunate to have one of my wives die, back last year. The daughter of my baby daughter in a manner, and but again, like I said, we have seen the three of us pandemics. We have seen, the Korean War, Rip, which you saw what happened, Rip. You was a medic in the Vietnam War.
Yes,
We
sir.
all went through. And so, and with Jerry, both of you, I would say, both of you gentlemen, thank you for your services to our country that you did, okay, and help us be where we are today.
Hey, Ira.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Ira. Like he was talking about the submarine. Well, I can talk about them high mountains way up in the sky. The higher you get up, the thinner the air is. And it's a blessing if you don't start hyperventilating up there in them high mountains when I was in Vietnam. And that's what God deals with up on mountains. And everything else is down below the mountains.
Yes, that's true.
So the air was real thin, just like the air. I don't know how the air is underwater, but I would like to stay out in the air on the earth instead of going underwater. And man, you is blessed, man, to go through them years on the submarine.
It's 3:40, gentlemen.
Okay, got you. Okay. Well, one thing I can say that, Jerry, I didn't know you were seven. I forgot you were seven. Well, I didn't know you were 76. Okay, I know Rem was, but that the three of us, okay, have seen some of the best of the good times and some of the worst of the bad times, including the pandemic here. So, what are your takeaways right now? If we talk about President Jimmy Carter, okay, that was very much in our lives, keeping us free. And as a president, okay, I can recall the things that he actually did. I was with his administration back in those days, on several different occasions. One gentleman that I have to bring out here, a gentleman by the name of Jabin Brown, was the state representative, and he met Jimmy Carter when he was in the state senate. And he took him to Washington. He took him to the state capitol when he became governor. He took him to the White House where, unfortunately, being was a homosexual, but he could not serve in a cabinet position those days. They wouldn't accept him homosexual, but he was best he could do was vice president of the Democratic Party. So Jimmy Carter, if he was his friend, he would stick with you through thick and thin. So that kind of showed me right there the type of man he was. And like Jerry, you just said that he was a Christian man, and I can tell you for a fact, everybody I talked to who knew him during that time period said amen what you just said.
Well,
yes.
I think
yes,
it's a major blessing to live the life as well as Jimmy did. The Lord will be pleased with you. You smile because it's an admirable trait in order to be strong and pleasing to the Lord.
Amen.
Yeah, I think we all can say amen to that, Jerry. All say amen to that. Okay. Matter of fact, as we look at the clock on the wall, we're getting close to it. But Rev, give me some of your thoughts about President Jimmy Carter, Rev.
Well, from what I heard about Jimmy, he was a wonderful man. The man took care of business and he was obedient to God because God had him to do what he had to do in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, that's to the point, and it's pleasing to know that we were that in our 76 years we all observed the same thing, okay, and come away with it that it was that he was blessed. And I think Scott can give us an amen because he was in the service also, so he served his country well. I think also Scott.
I came in the service just after in 1981, so it was just after Carter. So.
Okay. So right now, you're blessed that you guys all came home safely, and I want to thank the whole gang of us here for taking part in this especially put together the last minute here, honoring the late President Jimmy Carter. But I felt that with Scott, with Jerry, having such a close life, farmer, he saw a version of Jimmy Carter nobody else got a chance to see. And then to see him on the submarine, okay, as the man in charge of the submarine fleet at that time, that was a blessing. Just to talk to the real man and get a clean order for you, that your house was in order.
Amen.
So that says, Jerry, that you did a good job also, and you continue. I can say right now, you continue to live a good life. You continue to help people all the time.
Well, thank you for the kind words there, Alex.
Well, no, I know you pretty well, and you help people every chance you get. You work with somebody and helping somebody, and that through the Tom Powell Post, which is one of the longest open posts in the black community for the government to go to.
Yes, sir. And all those who would be supported are appreciated for American veterans.
Yes.
Even today.
And glad to meet you, Jerry.
Sir, you as well.
Well, on that note, we're gonna make sure we get this half hour in popped. I want to thank Jerry first of all for telling us his relationships that he had with a good man, and also for Reverend Lyles to come on board and extra time here to spend time with us talking about a great president in our country. And ask God to also be the engineering for us to make sure it took place. And on that note, my name is Ira, folks. You're listening to a special with Jerry Fisher on the life that he had, and also that he had with the late President Jimmy Carter. On that note, have a great weekend. Not too much, we always said life is good and peace be safe.